Welcome. This is Joseph Kawes, and this is a slight QA framework demonstration. In the past, we've had a UI test framework for the reference application, um, and these are based on the UI test framework, which includes a couple of Selenium uh, pages. Ideally, pages are describing the elements on the page as well as the functionality that you can perform while you're on that specific page. So this lays the foundation for the UI tests that are sitting in the distribution, which you can find in the UI test folder. We have a number of these that the current QA team is working on to ensure they're passing. We hope making sure all these tests pass would raise a lot of the reference application coverage. The previous year, the QA, the previous year came with a great opportunity for OpenMRS community. There was a QA team which I was a part, and Christine and a number of other colleagues from OpenMRS that worked on the QA framework. And some of the things that were done were making some community recommendations, working on a prioritization criteria, and as well as working on a technical POC, which POC is what you're looking at on your screen right now. This, at the moment, is tracking a number of QA efforts around the community. For example, we've added installation and upgrade tests. These are getting triggered on changes from the platform, and ideally these tests are simply deploying a local or instance in CI GitHub Actions and then testing of that instance. So ideally deploy a WAR file and a container for the database and run the tests against that. And so if you come to the QA framework and before a release, you actually want to make sure the simple, advanced, and upgrade tests are passing for the platform. And then we have reference application tests. We're doing two approaches for these tests, and the first approach is what we had before, which we call the legacy Selenium tests, and we're running these on both Chrome and Firefox. They're running on Chrome in Bamboo, and they're running on Firefox in GitHub Actions. GitHub Actions is deploying on a local instance that is deploying reference application instance empty and testing of that, whereas the legacy Selenium tests that are running on Bamboo, they're running on the online QA or the live QA instance. Then we also have the new tests, the ones that we've written in the BDD approach, behavior-driven development, and these are following. They're following the BDD approach towards testing, the given when then. We're using Gherkin. I'll pull out a few samples for this. Okay. So we have feature files. Feature files are simple, human readable files that represent what it needs to be tested, what the user performs on the system, and what the system does in response to the user's actions. So we have these for the platform, the installation and upgrade. Let me take a look at this, for example. So the upgrade scenario, given a user enters credentials. So there's something that must happen in the background, which is triggered by adding this hook, the initial setup. This is triggering. Oh, that should be okay. Let me see what that is. Let me try upgrade, I think. Maybe I can try this. So, like before this test, the simple installation test, something must happen. And we hook it up, which is the Selenium initial setup. And then we simply make sure this function is run, which function is doing this before. It's actually visiting the initial setup page and ensuring that that page is live before the test. The advantage with that is we don't have to reopen, we don't have to declare that in the feature file. It can be reused. If I go back to the feature file, I was on the upgrade one, sorry. So this does the entrance of the credentials into the system, and then the user proceeds with the upgrade, so on. And then for that, let me just select one for the installation, which is the simple installation.feature. It's almost doing the same thing, relies on opening the browser and ensuring the initial setup page is loaded. And then the user selects a language, and then the user selects simple installation type. About 3 installation types, and we've covered all of them. Then the user enters all the simple installation steps, and in other words, proceed through the steps, and then they should afterwards be able to wait on the system as the system performs the installation. So that's for the platform. We also have a number of those for the reference application. And okay, this is where for all the rest of the projects that are going to end up including QA through this repository, we'll have other folders within the futures directory. And then this could be like OCL, microfrontend, and so on and so forth. We have a file that we're using to trigger these. There's a couple of ways you can run each of these. For example, running the reference application tests, refap, Selenium, then we have simple core installation, and then OCL, and then microfrontend. So each of these, as long as the feature files are installed into the right directory, which would be maybe OCL or microfrontend, and then the steps would be located. So for microfrontend and OCL, that would be Cypress, and we've written already where those get included. For example, OCL, I think we already have a sample here. So all OCL descriptions, step descriptions will come into this folder, and then we'll have another folder for microfrontend and so on. This is as well a test one for the reference application. So I should mention that the QA team is active, and we have a lot ongoing. We have a fellowship that is ongoing, and we have a fellow. We have fellows actually too, Dawood and Sharif, and we have a number of other community members that are volunteering their time to work on QA. This dashboard will grow, and we'll keep on including all QA projects within the OpenMRS realm, even those that won't necessarily be managed within the QA framework. At least we'll try to include all their labels down here, so that this becomes the one center place where you would go to for you to know the QA status of all the rest of the tools across OpenMRS. Okay, ideally all these builds, CI builds, including GitHub Actions and Bamboo, posting results directly into Cucumber Studio through the GitHub integration. And let me just pick a sample. Okay, maybe I can do a patient registration. So ideally this in case any of this tracks the most recent builds, and in case there was any failure, then definitely those would be highlighted. Okay, this as well is getting posted on there's something called Cucumber reports.cucumber.io. I'll pull out a recent Bamboo build for the framework and show how you can get that. That's normally in the logs. Then at least this section will be highlighted in the logs. Then you can visit the link, and that should show you all the feature files that got run. Let's just wait for this a little bit. Yeah, something like this. Almost the same as what you get in Cucumber Studio. I think this report is ideally most appreciated than any other. And however, for the QA team, would recommend this place. So this would be the center place where you would know the status of whatever is happening. We hope that through the ongoing effort across the community to figure out the best way to rightly represent information from the users through workflow-based testing, we hope that maybe through listing individual workflows here, those would make this widget or this dashboard a lot more meaningful than it is at the moment. Thanks.